This is the CBS Evening News with Scott Pelley.
And good evening. Scott is off tonight. I'm Russ Mitchell. Britain's tabloid phone hacking scandal has reached the highest levels of the British government. Today, Prime Minister David Cameron addressed an emergency session of Parliament on the crisis. Even as Americans find out, they are just as vulnerable to phone hackers. We have two reports tonight, beginning with Elizabeth Palmer in London. Liz, good evening.
Good evening. Prime Minister David Cameron's links to the powerful Murdoch clan had become so politically dangerous that he cut short an official visit to Africa and rushed home to limit the damage.
At a rowdy emergency session of Parliament,
Order! Order!
Prime Minister David Cameron was on the defensive, undermined by what appears to many to be a toxically close relationship with Rupert Murdoch and his now disgraced executive team.
You live and you learn, and believe you me, I have learnt.
He batted away question after question, especially about his decision to hire an ex-Murdoch editor, since arrested in the phone hacking scandal, as his communications chief.
If it turns out I've been lied to, that would be a moment for a profound apology.
A recent poll shows 60% of Britons think Murdoch, through his powerful newspaper group, has far too much influence in British politics. Influence Cameron says he's always been open about.
And what I've set out is not just meetings, if you like, that are business meetings, official meetings with media executives and proprietors, but also private meetings as well.
So it was even more embarrassing for Cameron when Rupert Murdoch, facing his own grilling by British lawmakers, said he was invited to the Prime Minister's home at number 10 Downing Street after last year's election as a thank you for his support, but told to arrive in secret.
Why did you enter the back door at number 10 when you visited the Prime Minister following the last general election?
Because I was asked to.
Why would that be?
To avoid photographers in the front. I imagine, I don't know, I was asked, I just did what I was told.
Cameron has invited Murdoch executives to his home and official country residence 26 times in just over a year, including Murdoch's son, James, and the former CEO, Rebecca Brooks, who was arrested on the weekend. She and Cameron are neighbours who travel in the same circles. Today, he was forced to deny he'd ever invited her for a sleepover.
I've never held a slumber party or seen her in her pajamas.
Cameron was bloodied, shall we say, in Parliament today, but not broken. However, this thing is far from over. His enemies expect more damaging allegations to surface when the judicial-led inquiry into phone hacking gets underway. Russ?
Elizabeth Palmer in London, thank you. It turns out that hacking into voicemail in the United States is pretty easy, depending on your phone carrier. Bill Whitaker looked into that.
The targets of the tabloid hacking scandal include British royals, commoners, and screen stars like Hugh Grant.
Right. I think this is the watershed moment.
But don't think hacking is just the scourge of the celebrated and sensational on the other side of the Atlantic. Your phone and my phone can be hacked.
My ex-girlfriend found her way into my voicemail on my cell phone.
Just as easily as LA screenwriter Rich Keith's.
She would know things that were only on my voicemail, and sometimes she would know them before I knew them.
This is a crime that doesn't really leave a trail of evidence.
Cyber scientist Christopher Segoyan says hacking is hard to trace but easy to do, especially with AT&T and Sprint, which together serve more than 148 million customers. Unlike other providers, they don't require PIN numbers to access voicemail. Hacking their phones, Segoyan says, is easy as 1, 2, 3. Go to any number of websites, punch in your phone number, punch in the number you'd like to hack, then punch in that number again to cover your tracks. As demonstration, Segoyan hacked his own phone in just 3 minutes.
I'm in.
When asked for interviews, AT&T and Sprint issued statements instead. AT&T says it takes security very seriously and strongly urges customers to set up voicemail passwords. Sprint says if customers don't set up passwords, then we make it clear their account could be vulnerable.
They've weighed the pros and cons, and they've decided that usability outweighs security.
After he was hacked, Rich Keith dropped AT&T for Sprint. Perhaps a mistake, he says. He never saw the small print and never set up a new password.
From one bad carrier to the next. Although I get 4G now, so now I can be hacked at blazing speeds. It's amazing.
Russ, Russ, both Sprint and AT&T insist that it's not easy to hack their phones from outside numbers. And they say they allow their customers easy access, or they can punch in a password. They say it's customer choice.
Okay, Bill Whitaker in Los Angeles, thanks a lot. The clock is ticking down toward a government default. In less than